Madam Speaker, I must say this has been a complete weekend for me. I had the opportunity to watch the movie Selma again for about the 50th time, which talked about the struggles for civil rights in the 60s. I also had a chance my wife and I went to watch Hidden Figures, which also talked about the struggles for women for civil rights. And now to hear Mr. Dawkins and those three wonderful students, Rebecca, Ashlyn, and Isaac, that is a complete weekend. And Madam Speaker, let me just add, I want to thank you for allowing me to sponsor House Resolution 4604, honoring one of my heroes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King gave us some wonderful advice during this short time. And I was wondering as I was out walking this morning, what advice would he give us today? What would he say to us to help us live together in peace? What would he say to us to convince us to talk to each other and not at each other? With everything that is going on in the world today, we've all heard about Chicago, New York, Florida, and of course, Charleston, South Carolina, just to name a few. There is a lot of anger, hatred, bitterness, and fear in our world today. What would Dr. King say to us to help us lose the hate, lose the bitterness, lose the anger, and lose some of the fear? As a young boy growing up in Louisiana, I will confess, and I'm ashamed to say this, but I had a lot of hatred, anger, bitterness, and fear in my heart. It was the kind of bitterness that could have led me in a different direction. And I would like to tell you how I got rid of that anger, that hatred, that bitterness, and that fear. But before I do, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, may I mention 4 names?
Yes, please proceed.
Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robinson. On September 15th, 1963, just 18 short days after Dr. King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech, a powerful bomb exploded in the basement of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. Addie Mae Collins, Denise McNair, Cynthia Wesley, and Carol Robinson were killed. They were just little girls, 11 years old, and one was 16 years old. The 16-year-old girl was 1 year older than my mom when she gave birth to me. I wanted to mention their names because one man said that when all of these, and you can just fill in the blank with anything you want. He was talking about people. But when all of these blank people leave town, you will never hear their names again. I hope we will never forget Addie Mae, Cynthia, Denise, and Carol. Dr. King spoke at the memorial for three of the girls. And his message that day was a simple message. The title of his message was "A Love That Forgives." A love that forgives. And as he was leaving the church, a reporter walked up to him and shoved a microphone in his face. And he said, Dr. King, tell me something. Don't you just hate the people who did this?" Now, I was a little boy growing up in Louisiana. We lived in a little tiny house that sat right smack in the middle of a big cotton field. I didn't have a lot of direction in my life. And frankly, as we were watching the service for these girls on the TV in our school, I'm ashamed to say that I was hoping Dr. King would say, yes, it's time to do all of those things that maybe I wanted to do. But that's not what Dr. King said. Remember, the reporter asked, don't you just hate the people who did this? This is what Dr. King did. He looked at the reporter, he looked at the microphone, he looked at the grieving families, and he looked at the thousands of people in the crowd, and here's what he said. He said, we live in a nation founded in honor, respect, and love. And he repeated it. He said, honor, respect, and love. And when you live in a nation founded in principles of love, to hate anyone is just a burden that is too much for me to bear. I was thinking about it, Madam Speaker, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to close with with respect to Dr. King. I believe that during the struggles of the 60s, Dr. King had a goal to pass a civil rights bill. But I believe that his mission in life was to lay down the burden of hatred and redeem the soul of America. Thank you, Madam Speaker.